Several days later, on the morning of the bustling village market as Chief Uzo had planned, large crowds gathered along the grassy banks of the winding river that bordered the kingdom. News of the significant cleansing ritual for Princess Adan, to be conducted by the respected village elder and healer, Chief Uzo, had quickly spread by word of mouth and attracted multitudes. Representatives, townspeople, and merchants from all 5 surrounding kingdoms journeyed to witness the ceremony. Many brought sick relatives or friends, hoping to benefit from Chief Uzo's legendary talents. Kings and high priests from each kingdom, recognizable in their gleaming robes of status, also attended with great interest. Despite their own failed attempts to lift Adan's curse over the years, they came to observe. Colorfully clad female dancers with shell-adorned anklets gathered, ready to perform. The royal drummers assembled too, prepared to play sacred beats invoking divine spirit powers. Even Princess Adan's parents, the Queen and King Chukwuemeka, quietly joined the gathered crowd. Finally, Chief Uzo appeared, wearing a majestic feathered crown, representing his ancestral authority, and leopard print clothing, showing his command of ancient mystic forces. He emerged slowly from the forest fringe by the river. Surrounding him respectfully was a group of muscular, bare-chested warrior guards, painted with sacred white ochre clay designs. They carried jars of purified water from the river and baskets filled with ritual elements like powders made from rare rainforest roots, exotic bird feathers, elephant hide bracelets, and curved tusks from legendary sea beasts. Princess Adan sat gracefully beside him on a woven reed mat, wearing a soft ivory gown. However, her eyes showed her anxiety. Arinze knelt behind her, holding her shoulders firmly. Adan sought his warmth as her only comfort amid the uncertainty and memories of past disappointments before numerous councils of mystics. Just beyond, King Chukwuemeka stood protectively with his advisors, who had come to witness any miracle for themselves. Soon, the steady beat of hide drums filled the air, signaling everyone to gather. "Be blessed, my children," Chief Uzo's strong voice echoed across the area. "Today, we gather at this sacred river, seeking divine pardon and grace from forces once angered."
He looked directly at Princess Adan, his gaze intense. "With faith and reverence, I will use every power granted to me by the Creator to help this blameless young lady who has suffered for so long." In response to his words, the drummers began a complex, accelerating beat. The dancers started their spirited routine, their bracelets jingling. Everyone watched eagerly as the tense scene unfolded at the shoreline, filled with fervent hopes. A tense silence fell over the crowd as Chief Uzo lifted his staff towards the sky, seeking divine intervention. Everyone watched closely as he lit herbs in a bowl, filling the air with a strange, sweet-smelling smoke. Then Chief Uzo began a dance, following ancient traditions passed down through generations. His chants, spoken in an ancient language, seemed to echo through the air, sending shivers down the spines of many. The sounds of the forest faded away, as if paying respect to the ceremony. Princess Adan closed her eyes, overwhelmed by memories from her past. Memories of a beggar child she had once rejected, and the harsh words she had spoken without remorse.
Meanwhile, the other kings observed Chief Uzo's actions with solemn approval, while Adan struggled to control her emotions. After an hour of intense ritual, Chief Uzo grew weary, examining the bones and shells scattered on the ground for signs from the spirits. Unfortunately, the signs remained unclear and unfavorable. Disappointment rippled through the crowd as Chief Uzo prepared to make a second plea. This time, an assistant drew a small amount of blood from Adan's wrist as an offering. Yet, despite their efforts, the ritual was unsuccessful. As the morning progressed, Chief Uzo continued to pour all his energy into a third and fourth dance, sprinkling rare purple powders over Adan's kneeling form. However, Despite his heartfelt efforts, the crowd grew increasingly doubtful and restless. Some began to grumble, accusing Uzo of being a fraud. Adan fought back tears, feeling the familiar sting of disappointment. Arinze held her close, offering words of comfort while glaring at the hecklers. Even the dignitaries shook their heads in disbelief, unsure of what to do until the ceremony was over. Only King Chukwuemeka remained, holding on to hope that the situation would somehow change. Meanwhile, Chief Uzo felt exhausted and confused. His methods, which had always succeeded in the past, were failing him now. Sensing the gravity of the situation, Uzo drank some water brought by young Arinze and appealed to the ancestors for guidance. He realized that only love could overcome the cruelty of the curse. With newfound understanding, Uzo decided to approach the situation with raw humanity, rather than relying solely on official rituals. Uzo took off his fancy clothes and went to Adan, who was sad and tired, and held her hands tightly, looking into her eyes with seriousness. In a loud voice, he called out to Queen Izumba in the sky. Instead of doing fancy dances, Uzo surprised everyone by kneeling with Adan on the muddy ground. With their heads bowed and hands together, Uzo spoke from his heart to Queen Izumba. He asked her to listen to him, saying he was her humble servant. He begged her to show mercy to Princess Adan if there was any goodness left in her. After speaking, Uzo went quiet, and everyone waited anxiously, hoping for a miracle. Seconds felt like forever as they waited to see what would happen. Suddenly, strong winds rose from the calm waters, swirling around the ritual site. People gasped as spirits of ancestors appeared above the river. Then, right before Chief Uzo, a beautiful goddess emerged in a flash of bright sunlight piercing through the clouds. She wore threads of pure copper. People shielded their eyes and turned away, recognizing the divine presence of Goddess Izumba. When the glow faded a bit, everyone looked at the goddess. Izumba spoke to Chief Uzo in a kind voice, acknowledging his devotion to Princess Adan. She looked at Adan, who trembled but met her gaze. After a moment, the goddess said, "So be it, child. Even the coldest heart can find its way to light." Then, with a gentle smile that seemed tinged with sadness, Goddess Izumba spoke. "I take back the curse I unfairly placed many years ago in a moment of my own pain." She blessed Chief Uzo, saying, "Continue to serve your people with love. The heavens are pleased with deeds done from the heart." With these kind words still lingering in the air, Izumba's glowing form suddenly transformed back into that of a humble peasant, before disappearing as quickly as she had appeared. A deep silence fell over the crowd as they absorbed the miraculous events they had just witnessed. Then, a jubilant cheer erupted as the people celebrated the merciful actions of the goddess, while Chief Uzo beamed with pride. However, amidst the joyous commotion, Princess Adan suddenly gasped and collapsed. Arinze rushed to catch her, calling out her name anxiously as her parents hurried to help revive her. At Chief Uzo's calm direction, the limp princess was swiftly moved to a secluded dwelling, away from the public eye for recovery. There, for countless anxious hours, while the crowds outside slowly dispersed, Princess Adan lay eerily still on Chief Uzo's woven sleeping mat. Her distraught mother wept inconsolably against King Chukwuemeka's chest, equally distressed. But the wise healer only smiled at their worry. "Be patient. The young lady's spirit undergoes a profound transformation, crossing from one reality to the next. This indicates the goddess's complete forgiveness." True to his prediction, after a full day and night of deep slumber, Princess Adan finally stirred, weak as a newborn cub. As her blurry vision cleared and she saw her beloved Arinze kneeling beside her, the princess's voice quivered with apprehension. "Please, has the goddess's curse truly been lifted from me after all this time?" Holding her breath, she slowly raised a trembling hand to her face. Then, she gently inhaled through her nose. Waiting for a few tense moments, she took another fuller breath. And then, suddenly, she sat up straight in amazed delight. Princess Adan couldn't stop crying tears of joy and thanking the heavens loudly. "I no longer have that awful smell. It's a miracle. Thank you, Goddess Izumba." Chief Uzo had done the impossible through his strong belief and selfless acts. His ritual had finally freed Princess Adan from her curse, allowing her to embrace a future filled with love and acceptance that had been denied to her for so long. The villages celebrated together for days, united by the marriage of two resilient souls who had grown stronger together. 6 months later, Princess Adan and Arinze were deeply in love and making plans to marry. Both of their families supported them wholeheartedly. King Chukwuemeka, Adan's father, had come to admire Arinze for his unwavering dedication to Adan. Chief Uzo, Arinze's father, had welcomed Adan with open arms from the very beginning, even when she was still struggling with the curse. Not long ago, Chief Uzo, Arinze and their families approached King Chukwuemeka to ask for Princess Adan's hand in marriage. The king happily agreed. On that special day, everyone gathered to celebrate the young couple. They were overjoyed to finally give their blessing to the union after years of courtship and overcoming the curse. Princess Adan was beaming with tears of happiness. Over the next few months, Arinze worked tirelessly to save money for Princess Adan's bridal dowry, as was customary. He took on extra drumming gigs and woodcarving jobs, excited about the prospect of marrying Adan. Then, one day, shocking news spread throughout the kingdom. Prince Ukandu, who was expected to become the next king of the powerful Okanga kingdom, arrived unexpectedly. His presence was significant not only for his kingdom, but also for Princess Adan's. He boldly announced that if he couldn't marry Princess Adan, he wouldn't marry anyone else. Prince Ukandu, who was handsome and very wealthy, was determined to win Princess Adan's heart. He visited the palace every day, showering her with expensive gifts like jewelry, fine clothes, and even exotic pets from distant lands. Troubling rumors soon reached Arinze. People said that the respected prince wanted to marry Adan and make her his queen. It seemed Adan was considering his advances, accepting his lavish presents. Arinze felt sad and worried. He had stood by Adan during her toughest times, but now this rich prince threatened to take her away with his wealth. Feeling heartbroken, Arinze rushed to meet Adan in their secret forest spot. He needed to know if she planned to leave him for the prince. Adan could see his worry before he even spoke. She reached out to hold his hands. "My love, please don't doubt my feelings for you just because a prince is trying to impress me," Adan pleaded. "What we share is more important than material things." She looked at Arinze with meaning. "Prince Ukandu might have lots of wealth and high status to offer, but the happiness I feel just being with you, watching chickens pecking in the village, is priceless." Arinze blinked away tears of gratitude at her heartfelt words. Princess Adan came close and kissed his cheek gently. "There's no one else for me but you, my once humble drummer boy who has become so much more, the rhythm of my heart. Don't worry about Prince Ukandu's pursuit. I'll handle it gently in time." Completely reassured by Princess Adan's words, Arinze left their meeting in the forest feeling much better. He went back to work happily, earning money for their wedding celebration. Meanwhile, Prince Ukandu continued tirelessly, trying to make Princess Adan his bride. Used to getting his way, the spoiled young royal couldn't accept Adan's polite refusals. Instead, he kept showing up unannounced, pleading with increasing intensity. One morning, while Princess Adan was taking a relaxed walk with her guards, Prince Ukandu managed to stop them. He looked very pleased and joined the princess on her walk. As they walked through the countryside, Prince Ukandu started talking smoothly, praising Arinze for helping to lift Adan's curse, which even the best healers couldn't do. "Princess, surely after that drummer's help in freeing you from the curse, you must agree that only a prince like me would make a suitable husband," Ukandu said arrogantly. Adan was about to argue back, but the prince continued smoothly. "Imagine, I would treat Arinze with so much kindness and favor for what he did. I could give him riches beyond imagination. I would build a huge mansion for Arinze's family with servants to help them with everything. Your former love wouldn't have to do any more hard work. Please, Princess Adan, consider this offer and tell Arinze about it. At least do me the honor of taking this offer to Arinze for consideration." Although Princess Adan felt bothered by Prince Ukandu's entitled behavior and false generosity towards Arinze, she reluctantly agreed to share the prince's message with Arinze later that day when they were supposed to meet secretly among the trees and vines. She realized that this could be a great opportunity for her to become the ruler and a proud princess of the entire kingdom if Prince Ukandu assigned the throne. Recognizing that it would be difficult for any woman to reject such an offer, she decided to offer Arinze money, the offer Prince Ukandu made, and marry Prince Ukandu. Princess Adan couldn't ignore the appeal of Ukandu's proposal. That night, Princess Adan went to bed early, claiming to have a mild headache. In reality, her mind was consumed by thoughts about Prince Ukandu's proposal. By offering Arinze immense wealth, she compared the two men and concluded that being a queen was the best choice. Tears of frustration streamed down her face. After enduring her curse and feeling eternally isolated for so long, now she had two suitors vying for her hand when she had little hope before. On one hand, her heart was drawn to Arinze, who had been humble yet unwaveringly loyal. He had uplifted Adan's spirit through countless rejections. Together, they had built a genuine connection and offered each other understanding and support during difficult times. No amount of wealth or nobility could outweigh Arinze's steadfast loyalty and his ability to see the true essence of who Adan was beyond her curse. Adan finally fell asleep, her mind filled with turmoil. The next morning, Arinze happily whistled as he went to the grove where he and Adan usually met. He laid out a blanket and unpacked sweet berry tarts and spiced tea that he had made just for her. Arinze hummed contentedly as he waited for Adan to arrive, but as the sun rose higher in the sky, there was still no sign of the princess. Arinze's excitement turned into disappointment mixed with worry. In all the times they had met secretly in this grove, Adan had never failed to come, or at least send a message if she was going to be late. Confused and increasingly anxious, after waiting for hours with no sign of her, Arinze sadly packed up the untouched food and returned home. The next day, Arinze went to their usual forest spot earlier than usual, hoping everything was okay with Princess Adan and wanting to see her smile again. But once again, Princess Adan didn't show up, and there was no note or message explaining why she wasn't there. Arinze started feeling really worried. The next day, and the day after that, the princess still didn't come. Meanwhile, Princess Adan walked through the palace halls, feeling trapped in deep confusion. She was torn between the recent talk with Prince Ukandu. Princess Adan realized she had to make a tough decision quickly, before Arinze came back thinking she had heartlessly left him without a word. One gloomy, rainy afternoon, Princess Adan made a tough decision after thinking alone for hours. With a heavy heart, she went to her father, King Chukwuemeka, and sadly told him she agreed to marry Prince Ukandu, and that is the final decision, aim to maintain the royalty in her lineage, and him and the prince will join hand and settle Arinze and his family with gift and money. The king, feeling sad for his daughter, listened with understanding as she shared the story of Prince Ukandu's persistent pursuit and promises of prosperity for Arinzi's family. King Chukwuemeka knew well the heavy responsibilities that came with being royalty. Seeing Adan give up her hope for reciprocal love was deeply painful for him. He stepped forward and comforted the quietly crying Adan. "My dear daughter, we royals often have to put aside our personal feelings for the sake of our duties to the state and crown," he said with a heavy heart. "But I must confess, if only you could give fate a little more time." Here, King Chukwuemeka paused, a curious smile appearing. Adan looked at her father with a puzzled expression, wiping away her tears. "What do you mean, father? Time for what?" The king chuckled softly, a hint of hope returning to his tired eyes. "Just be patient, my child. Keep an eye out in the coming days for destiny to set things right, through forces beyond our control." And with that cryptic message, Adan couldn't get any more information out of her smiling father that strange day. Feeling confused, the princess went back to her lonely room to struggle with the difficult decision she had to make. She decided to go ahead with her plans to offer Arinzi money for his past help in removing her curse. She accepted the harsh reality that she would marry Prince Ukandu and become queen, even though it meant giving up the possibility of being with Arinzi. It was a sacrifice she felt she had to make for the greater good, even if it broke his heart. The next morning, Princess Adan gathered her courage, dressed in simple clothes like those worn by villagers, and walked hesitantly through the forest to their special spot. Her heart felt heavy as she saw Arinzi already waiting under their favorite tree, his eyes closed with a hopeful smile on his lips. Adan felt a pang of sadness realizing he had come early, excited for her return after so long. But now, she had to break his heart with her news. Approaching Arinzi quietly so as not to startle him, Adan gracefully knelt on the picnic blanket they had woven together in happier times. Memories flooded her mind, filling her with both joy and sorrow. Arinz sensed her presence and opened his eyes, his face lighting up with joy at seeing her again. "Adan," he exclaimed, reaching for her hands with love. "I've been so worried. What kept you?" But his expression changed when he saw Adan's plain clothes and simple appearance. Worry replaced his joy as he studied her face closely. "Is something wrong, my love?" he asked, growing more alarmed. Princess Adan tried to speak, but sadness choked her words. Her teary eyes showed the difficult news she had to share. Arinzi looked at her with compassion and concern, sensing something was wrong. He held her hands tighter, urging her to tell him what was troubling her. Taking a deep breath, Adan began to explain everything that had happened, how Prince Ukandu had approached her, insisting on marrying her, and offering riches for Arinzi's family if she agreed. She confessed her struggle between wanting to follow her heart and feeling obligated to consider the offer because of all Arinz had done for her. "I want you to know, my dear Arinzi, that I only want what's best for you and your family," Adan said sadly. "You've sacrificed so much to help me, and I can't ignore that. I have made up my mind to marry the prince. He promises to give you gifts and riches beyond imagination. He would build a huge mansion for you and your family, with servants to help you with everything. Your family deserves rewards for the sacrifices they made to stand by me. I am marrying the prince, and there's nothing anyone can do about it. The reward is enough for you to start a new life or marry one of my other sisters. Please, my darling Arinzi, this is a huge opportunity for me."
Love and care.